Well, for as fun as the regular season was, with memorable moments and countless records shattered, it really was just a preseason for what's next. Fair or unfair, when you're the defending Super Bowl champs, the bar of success is measured by Lombardis. So with the most important games on the horizon, our experts broke down the state of the Chiefs' offense.
I think maybe the most interesting part of the Chiefs offense is going to be that offensive line. And the only reason I spend all the time on the offensive line is because we know the receivers are unbelievable. Travis Kelce is unbelievable. Patrick Mahomes is unbelievable. The only thing that I think can kind of put a speed bump in front of the Chiefs offense throughout the playoffs are injuries and Patrick Mahomes being really, really bothered by a pass rush in a way that's still very hard to do, even with subpar offensive line play. But if they can just be NFL average throughout the playoffs, the Chiefs offense is going to look as good as ever.
I don't think there's any problems with the Chiefs offense at this point in the season. The only concern is going to be the offensive line. This is a group that they've had to cobble together. This is not plan B or plan C. It's really plan D. They can throw the ball at any point. I don't think that's the problem. The real question is going to be, if they need to put the hammer down and put the game away, can they do that?
They're the best offense in the NFL still. I think people have lost sight of that because they haven't been throwing up 40 points a game. It's funny that we would be so dismissive of an offense that should have had a 5,000-yard passer with 40 touchdowns. And what some people are calling a down year. If this is what bad years look like for quarterback play, okay, I guess I'll be okay. I'll be just fine. But they have the most unstoppable collection of weapons in the entire NFL. They're going to be a dominant offense. And the same thing applies forever. If you're going to beat the Chiefs, I hope you plan on having a 3 in your score or you have no chance.
For as good as the offense can be, the defense is arguably just as important. 2020 has brought surprises like L'Jarius Sneed and disappointments like Frank Clark. But the past no longer matters, and how the Chiefs' defense performs could be the difference between heartbreak and glory.
I raised an eyebrow, or I watched closely, because the Chiefs spent a lot of money on this pass rush, and it took quite a while to see them have consistently good games. So keeping an eye on what Frank Clark and Chris Jones can do to be disruptive right at the front for whoever they end up matched up with, that's going to be huge. They've shown you with their money that that's where they think this defense can be its most elite. We need to see those guys perform at an elite level. The defense has to get enough stops to give the ball back to the Chiefs offense to let them do their thing, and they're going to keep winning the games they have down the road.
As a unit, they're doing it different than last year, but they're doing it just as efficiently. The secondary is so much better than I thought it would be. I think they're a better unit than last year. And at the very least, they're more consistent. And that is a huge difference. Last year, they were Jekyll, then Hyde. I'll take this version. Steady Eddie. I know what they do every week. They don't cause me any problems. I don't have any real headaches.
The second half of the season, the Chiefs finally started to get there a little bit with the pass rush, and that's what they've got to do. They need Frank Clark. They need Chris Jones to be productive, because there's questions behind them at the linebacker position specifically. Right now, they've got a lot of injuries there, and they're going to have to make up and cover for that in other areas. It's going to depend on the pass rush. If Chris Jones and Frank Clark can lead this team, if Tyrann Mathieu can get that secondary tightened up on the back end, they're not going to have any problems.